Hey everybody, HamsterSales here with another Starcraft 2 commentary. This time, for the first time in a long while, it's going to be myself, HamsterSales, the red Zerg in the top right on Typhon Peaks, going against QQitsJahKing, the blue Terran in the upper left. That name is a mouthful, sir. Well done fitting all that in there. QQitsJahKing. It's King? It's your king? I don't know what he's going for there. I've been having a ton of fun casting user-submitted replays. I'm going to continue doing primarily those as long as people are cool enough to email them to me. I'm going to try to get as many of those done. You take the time to email me, and I will do my very best to cast at least one of your games. I've been kind of unable to cast multiple games that people send me, like giant packs. Just don't quite have time to do that right now, but I've received a good number of emails. I've been very surprised with the number of emails I've received, and it's been a lot of fun. So after I'm done with this game, I'm going to head back to doing that. I've got maybe 4 or so people in line to be casted, so please be patient, and I will cast your game as soon as possible. Feedback's been very nice. I've been hearing some good things and bad things about what I'm doing, so I'm always going to be trying to improve my casting abilities, just like I try to get better at StarCraft. Even though that doesn't always work out, we're going to have to find out together who wins this game. That's of course a lie. I of course know who wins this game, but let's just pretend like I don't. And I'm going for my 14 pool, 14 gas build here against the Terran. I've been doing pretty much nothing but Baneling play against Terrans. So effective. Really trying to have a macro focus against the Terran, deal with those silly harasses. You know, they're not so great at Hellion harassing at my level. I can get a few roaches out, I can get spines out, I can play effectively with queens, so as long as your Terran doesn't have some kind of sick Hellion timing, it's pretty easy to, at this level, play, just kind of steamroll them with Banelings in the mid to late game, Baneling Muta play. I got pretty lucky with my Overlord. I just sent him over here blind. I have no idea still where my opponent is 3 minutes into the game. But this Overlord is going to be in perfect position to scout my opponent when the time arises. Probably around 6 to 8 minutes is when you want to do that. He's got a barracks with a tech lab and a Reaper on the way, so he's going to try to get some Reaper harass done. Reaper's great for map control, harassing your opponent, of course. And really not very expected these days. You're not expecting the harassing unit to come right into your base. I luckily am sending an Overlord to this Reaper entryway they have built into this map. This high brush normally blocks vision of everything over here for all the ground stuff that might be outside of it, but perching an Overlord over here, good idea. So good job me for doing that. But I have no idea this Reaper harass is on the way. If I'm paying close attention, which I normally don't, I will notice it with this Overlord here. I believe he's going to hop in right under the nose of my Overlord. Let's check my first-person view. Yeah, I don't notice it yet. Not seeing that blue dot. Gonna get the attack notification any second now. That Reaper is just chilling in my base. I do not see it now with the Queen. Gonna start picking away at it, and he's just gonna bounce up out of there. So I got lucky there. I'd say that this Reaper got nothing done. Usually they can kill a drone or two. They 3-shot drones. Drones are actually the only unit that will survive 3 shots, I believe. Let's see. Against ground, he does 9 damage. That doesn't seem right. Versus light, he does 9. Oh, 2 attacks, so he's going to do 18 damage. So I guess they would 3-shot any worker, right? 18 damage. Yeah, and workers have 45 life. So, 40 life. Excuse me, I knew that, of course. I'm thinking of Marines. So yeah, like any other worker, they get 3-shot. Ignore my ramblings there. But some things drones can survive because they do regen life while taking damage. Certain things you'd expect to kill them won't. I think it might be that the unupgraded Hellions actually take 3 shots to kill a drone. I think that's the one that's unusual. Anyway, pretty standard game coming up here. We're both on 2 base. I'm sure I have a worker lead at this point, right? Yeah, very slight worker lead for me at this point, but of course Terrans have mules. That's why you always want to be a base ahead on them. And because your units are usually not so good as your Terran opponents. I'm electing to get 3 spines here. I haven't really seen any reason to get 3 spines. I'm just worried about things like giant Hellion attacks or an early push from my opponent. So I'm getting a lot of static D. Usually better to get 1 or 2. 3 maybe a little overkill, especially since I'm pretty resource low now. So that's an overinvestment, I'd say. Getting my layer at about 7 minutes, and I'd really like to see myself expand in the next 2 minutes here or so. I am getting a great scout in here. I see that he intends to expand to a 3rd base, quite ambitious for him, which means I know there's absolutely nothing on the way. What am I producing in response? Besides some additional tech, nothing yet, so I am kind of slow to react to the information I'm getting here. He even being so good-mannered as to note how good a scout I got in here. Part of that's because he has, I think, 0 Marines? No, 2 Marines total. Normally a Terran has many more Marines than that. Going to be able to kill your scouting overlord much faster. He is lamenting, absolutely lamenting the fact that I got an overlord in there like that. He thought he was being tricky. So often Terrans can be tricky, but he is going for a sneaky, sneaky 3rd base. So I have a couple options here. Do I try to harass and damage that 3rd base, or do I take econ? For the moment, I am trying to take the economic advantage. I am droning up. I know no attack is on the way, and I'm beating him to a 3rd base, which is good. This Reaper has a couple of kills now. I believe he was killing some scouting Zerglings, if I remember correctly, taking control of the watchtower. And he's going to try to sneak in here, but my Spinecrawler picking that off. I don't know if I even knew that this Spinecrawler was so effective. I did reposition the spines after initially planting them down, so the fact that I moved this one here to protect the mineral line helped out quite a bit. I wasn't expecting a sneaky Reaper entrance like that. That was very clever by him, but I got kind of lucky and prepared well enough for that the Spinecrawler just took him out before he could nom 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 my drones, as so often happens with those all too effective harassing Terran units. But at this point, QQitsJahKing is just setting up his production facilities on the low ground, trying to get some kind of wall off. This is extremely vulnerable to Ling run-bys. I don't remember if that's something I took advantage of. This 2nd base here is extremely, extremely vulnerable. And I know he's got a 3rd command center. Right now he is just getting the added benefit of extra mules. He turned it into an orbital, so he's getting tons of mules. And he is transitioning into some pretty heavy mech play. Obviously going to be getting siege tanks with these tech labs, as opposed to tons of blue flame Hellions. Honestly, I'd probably be more afraid of a mass of blue flame Hellions than I would siege tanks, just because I'm going for some heavy, heavy Ling Baneling play and throwing in some mutas for harass, I believe is my plan for the rest of this game. We're into 10 minutes. I've gotten my 3rd base saturated. I am on 62 workers to my opponent's 50, so I have a decent economic advantage. Or, we're about even. You'll see his income probably fluctuate above mine, depending on how many mules he has out at any given time. No mules right now, so we could see that income get much higher. Getting some Marauders with his unit mix, some Hellions, some blue flame Hellions. So that's kind of strange. Has all these tech labs and it's not producing a lot of tanks yet, I don't believe. So yeah, Thor on the way for QQitsJahKing, couple Marines. So getting an interesting unit mix. I thought I remembered that he went for a little bit more standard tank Marine, but he does have a couple of other units in the mix. These Marauders, I assume, are for soaking up Baneling hits, or maybe he thinks I could go Roach. If I scout, when you scout factories, often as Zerg, when you scout a ton of factories, it's usually best to get a decent amount of Roaches. But I'm going to be moving out across the field with these Zerglings here. These Speedlings are going to get into his 3rd expansion, into his 3rd base rather. Going to get some SCV kills, shut down production. Going to be completely cleaned up by these blue flame Hellions, but I got some damage done there. I think I wasted a ton of Banelings. I kept the Banelings in the control group there. That was some pretty poor control on my part. These blue flame Hellions have no concern for the environment, roasting trees everywhere. Extremely, extremely BM. But I got some damage done there. I don't know how cost effective it was. I'm sure I'm going to be down in the units lost point at this point. Yeah, by quite a bit. But I did kill me some workers. I got 10 worker kills. I will take that. Slowing down the Terran any way you can is fine, especially with a superior economy. He's getting some harass of his own done right now. QQ, Mr. QQ here is. It's going to take you a while to kill a hatchery buddy with those Hellions, and I'm going to kill these supporting units with a flood of Zerglings. and no doubt swing back to defend these 3rd and 4th and 5th bases I have morphing in. Not able to saturate these anytime soon, it doesn't look like. I do have a little bit of static D going down somewhere. Oh, this is something great to do on this map, on maps like Typhon Peaks and others of its ilk, like Zelnaga Caverns. Whenever you have a high ground directly overlooking one of your expansions like this, you can use an overlord to poop creep and set up a couple of spines so they aren't, or are at least delayed in setting up siege tanks here, or you know, high grounding you with blue flame hellions and or reapers, just shenanigans like that. So this is a good defensive tactic. Against Zerg, you can use it to prevent infestors. You throw down a couple of spines and a spore. Prevent that silly infestor play that we so often go for. But QQitsJahKing is setting up for kind of a contain here. Going to try to take over the middle of the map. It's going to prevent me from maynarding drones down to my 4th and 5th bases. You always want to do this as a Terran whenever possible. And he was pretty vulnerable right here. I bet my army of 14 mutas, 6 banelings, and 56 zerglings could have wiped the floor with this, but he is reinforcing with a bunch of tanks, so I am caught a little unaware there. But heading in here with my mutas, sorry I wasn't talking about my muta timing or anything like that, but I've got them now, and they are destroying SCVs. This is absolutely what you have to get done with the mutas, and this is what you have to avoid. Mr. Thor here will ruin a muta's day, will ruin a lot of muta's days if you let him go unchecked. I probably could have magic boxed him there. That's something I'm actually pretty good at. You want to move command your mutas in a big spread out group like they are right now, and then hold position over Thors, and they will absolutely destroy them. His splash will only hit 3 or so mutas in this type of configuration like I have them right now. Getting hit with another Thor shot though. Yeah, as you can see, it only hits about 3 mutas. So when they're spread out like this, they're quite effective. As you'll see here, magic box right next to this Thor here, going to be able to take the siege tank and this Thor out. And yeah, some decent harasses. Another thing, great thing you can do with your mutas, try to catch reinforcements as they make it up to the main contain. Here I'm doing that again. I think I'm going to take out these Marines and maybe head back to that 3rd, but no, Mr. Thor is still there. I'm going to want to avoid him, sending in additional mutas to help out. And how is my ground army looking? Got a ton of lings, bunch of banelings. I always recommend whenever possible, try to keep about even number of lings and banelings. They're equally useful. Lings will be doing tons of damage to everything persistently, whereas the banelings do have that nice explosion, but they're a bit slower. And yeah, can be focused down by tanks potentially. So you want the lings there to, and lings can help surround the Marines. You really need both to take stuff out. All too often, I think in pro games especially, I mean, maybe, you know, they're definitely smarter than me, but I think they tend to morph their entire clump into banelings, which seems a little sloppy to me. Lings so much faster can get the surround in and stuff. But he's setting up a huge contain here. I'm not going to be able to transfer workers from my base. I'm also apparently rallying units to their doom here. Yeah, there we go, from my 4th and 5th base. Able to rescue these two guys. Steve and Bill, the Zerglings, were saved. But QQitsJahKing is setting up for a contain here. He's felt a little bit of pressure from my meter harass, no doubt. But I am setting up to smash this. Hopefully it works out. Got the lings running in first. Siege Tank's going to be firing on those instead of the banelings. They get in, destroy the Marine clump. And the mutas are going to be able to come in here and clean up, I believe. No Thors left. So I should just attack move these mutas. I think I have enough. Yeah, I don't know why I'm retreating there. But sending lings back in. And here come the mutas. Yeah, they know there's no more Thors. Should be able to wipe this up nicely. Wipe it out nicely. Wipe it up, conjures up something different. Let's stay away from that kind of imagery here. But yeah, able to take him out with a muta-ling, baneling. This number of Marines not going to be able to deal with this number of mutas. I do elect to wait for the mutas here, so hopefully I'll just be able to finish him off. Does have a Thor still there for defense. Hopefully I avoid that with all these mutas. But tons of lings flooding in the front. And this is all she wrote, folks. Once a Zerg is able to rally units to within your production areas, you are in huge trouble. Especially if you put your production areas on the low ground here, which I'm not a big fan of. Plenty of room in your base, buddy, but pretty well played game there by him. His contain was decent, but you know, I just was able to take the game with some pretty effective muta harass. I got pretty lucky that his harass wasn't as successful as it could have been, and now you can just see the sea of red rallying across the map. Kind of a Kind of a great thing to see if you're a Zerg player. You know the great feeling. Couple of Thors here. I gotta be kind of careful these mutas aren't wiped out. Want to make sure I get the Lings in on them. There we go. Lings extremely effective against Thors. They do very little damage against them, really. You know, they'll fire both their salvos at a single Zergling, so it takes forever to kill multiple Zerglings for a Thor. And this is all she wrote for QQitsJahKing. Had a fun time playing this one. This is my go-to strat for against Terran going forward. Muta Ling, Baneling. Been around forever, of course. I'm not some kind of innovator. These mutas still magic boxing, even though there's no more Thors. Able to exchange GGs before he leaves the game. And yeah, it was fun to cast another one of my games. Honestly, I'm having more fun casting submitted replays, so that's what I'm going to go back to. Just kind of an update as to the type of games I've been playing. Haven't been playing nearly as much as I have as I used to. Been doing more casting, which has been a lot of fun. So yeah, look forward to both more user submitted games and my own games in the future. GG.